This is my first time reading Shadow Slave. They just turned into a manhwa. I know Shadow Slave has like a crazy fandom behind it, so it has to be good. So chapter 1 of Shadow Slave. Let's get into it, man. In the beginning of this chapter, we're in the northern quadrant of Siege capital, and it looks like there's like a slum and a rich area. There's two different classes. But in the beginning of this story, we start off in the rich area, and he got some coffee, real coffee, not this cheap synthetic thing he's used to. He says he couldn't even dream of this in the slums. I guess he's from that slum area. And he says it doesn't matter because he's gonna die soon. And he hopes that this is good. He takes his first sip, spits it right out. With me too. I'm not a fan of coffee either. I think it's gross. He says it's too damn bitter and looks in his reflection in the coffee and says, I shouldn't have got real meat. This boy hasn't even had real meat before, man. He really in the slums. But the reason why he picked the coffee over the meat was because he needed to stay awake, so he thought the coffee would help him stay awake. He throws his cup of coffee away, but then realized the coffee didn't do anything and he's still sleepy as he slaps himself trying to stay awake. My buddy is going through it like he needs to sleep right now. Tells himself he just needs to hold on till he gets to the police station. Then we arrive to the police station. Inside, they look like they're decked out with, they got a good budget there. They got a good budget. When he walks in, one of the officers says, "Are you lost?" And he says he's turning himself in because he's a carrier of the nightmare spell. The officer freaks out, calls Code Black as we see our character telling us that he's marked with the nightmare spell. And I guess the nightmare spell happened a few decades ago, and it happened when the planet was recovering from a lot of natural disaster, and there was like a war going on also. And from that, there's a lot of illness going around where people felt a lot of constant fatigue and like they felt like they just wanted to sleep. Some even went into like an endless slumber and wouldn't wake up. And then they end up calling that a nightmare spell because it wasn't just a disease. It felt like it was more like a curse, because if you had died during your sleep, you would transform into a monster, which they would call the nightmare creature. Look at these nightmare creatures. Imagine going to sleep and waking up a monster. Also, these nightmare monsters were to just attack humans. They didn't care who you were. Everyone could get it. The army got involved, but they got just overwhelmed quickly. Like, this looks like a scene from World War Z. Like, nightmare creatures everywhere, buildings just destroyed. The world just wasn't the same. These nightmare monsters just destroyed everything, causing chaos. But then some of the people that had the endless slumber disease started to wake up. And they would be called the awakened. They had survived their first nightmare, and from that, they got powers from it. Due to them having powers, they were able to affect the war against these nightmare creatures, and they basically caused kind of balance in the world a little bit. They became humanity's hope. And we see a panel of all these different awakened humans. This was the new world order now. They're the ones that are going to protect humanity from the nightmare creatures. They even started schools teaching kids at a young age skills they needed for survival and combat. So if they ever got infected, that they would be ready. Even rich families pouring hella money into like extra training and special training for their kids. But if you were from a family that was already awakened, then we see a panel of these so-called awakened family kids, and they look OP, especially him and him. But these kids could inherit magical memories that they could take with them for their first visit in the dream realm. Then we see our main character, and he just sees himself as a slum rat, that if he ever got this nightmare spell, he'd be cooked. He would just turn into a monster if it happened to him. Now we're in this police precinct. We see our main character guy, he's all like hooked up to this chair. We got a guy interviewing him, asking him what is his name. He says his name is Sunless. People just call him Sunny, so we got our main character named Sunny. The officer's like, that's a weird name, but I guess his mom named him that because he was born during a solar eclipse. He asks, do you have any family to contact? And he says no. He asks how long he could stay up, and he said not much longer. He proceeds to say, okay, tell me about the nightmare spell. What do you know about it? You go in this dream world and you kill a few monsters. You survive your first nightmare. Then you have magical powers and become an awakened. I guess he knew just the basic of it, but he told him to listen carefully. Because he says you're not just going to meet monsters, you're also going to meet people. But those people are not real. They're just illusions. He was wondering how he even knew that. But he just told him, don't worry about it. Just consider them like illusions because you might have to kill them later. And it's better that way. Also, he tells him right when you get in, check your attribute and aspect. Because if you're more like a attack warrior, like you have a sword or an arrow, you have a higher chance of surviving because you can attack. But he tells him don't get discouraged if you don't have one of those or like a different one, because every aspect has like there's no bad aspects out here. tells him to survive. Like, bro, survive. How well he does in the trial / surviving this nightmare, he will be rewarded powers determined on his success. They said it's not impossible. Like, the nightmare is not going to set up like an execution. There's going to be trials, so you're able to survive. But if he doesn't survive, they're going to have to off him. Him and his colleagues will have to deal with it as he's about to fall asleep. His eyes are closing, yelling out, "Please don't die." But if he doesn't, just not right away, because the nearest awakened person to deal with him is a few hours away. Last thing he hears before going into this dream realm is him saying, "I really appreciate we don't want to have to fight that thing ourselves." This is the last panel. We just say, "Welcome to the dream spell." Oh my God, man. I'm so ready.